What's good, Drive? You know? So, welcome to another video. So, we're going to go over my Become a Better Father program. Um, this happens to be I'm going to see that phase 2 or module 2, right? And so, module 2 starts from lesson 11 to lesson 20. We're going to go over lesson 20, fatherhood and self-discipline, right? Leading by example through daily discipline. Self-discipline is the foundation of strong fatherhood and leadership. A father who lacks discipline in his actions, habits, and emotions will struggle to lead his family effectively. Children learn more from what they see than what they are told. This is a fact. And if a father cannot control himself, this is pivotal, gentlemen. If a father cannot control himself, he cannot expect his children to develop self-control either. A lot of times we believe that, you know, um, if we tell our sons, hey, I need you to go do X, Y, and Z, and simply because you told him to do that, he's going to do it. Our children often will model the example that you lead by. When I'm told to do something by my wife, my boss, how prompt am I? How prompt am I in getting it done? And when I get it done, am I effective at getting it done? Right? And your children will often model whatever behavior you set forth. And so, a man who's disciplined, a man who's setting the stage in his family, then that transitions into children who become disciplined, because that bleeds off into your wife, into your relationship, into your children, into every aspect of your life as a father. But a lot of times we believe that you have to be this super well put together, well structured man, and you don't have to be. So self discipline could look like getting your ass up in the morning and going to work. Self discipline could look like handling your wife when you're upset in a way that doesn't taint the way your children see your relationship, and still comes across as structure and discipline. If you're a man who doesn't have that, and you want to have children who have that trait, children will only model the traits that they see in their parents, right? I'm a writer. My father is a writer, right? Most people say that I got that trait from him. It's very possible. But would I have been a better writer without my father being a better writer? I don't know. Um, when children see you being an example for them, they tend to want to model that. My dad, especially, like, great example of that would be sports. Guy who's committed to, like, football, basketball, whatever kind of sport the dad is committed to. The children tend to go, I might want to get off into that. Fishing, whatever it is you're doing. Oftentimes, especially our sons, really want to do it too, because they see you doing it, and they see you doing it continuously. It's like, I want to get off into that. I want to do that as well. My dad does it. I want to do that as well. And then it's those empowering moments when our children see us at our best that then pushes them to want to be their best. Children are I've learned that my son taught me this. I've learned that your child is paying more attention to what you do than what you say. 100%. Your child is definitely watching you more than they're listening, because it's what you do that matters the most to them. My son, one time, I asked him to clean his room, and I could tell he was upset with me. He was young too. And I told him to clean his room. He said, Dad, you don't clean your room. Great point, I don't. Or at that point I had, and I was like, and I tried to explain the way, and I was like, I'll deal with that, son. And I went to yell at him about keeping his room clean, but because he gave me that pushback, it knocked the pause in me. I'll come back to this. And I went and looked at my office, and I was like, man, this is not clean at all. But I realized that, okay, if I want him to model a particular behavior, I got to be that model, right? I think the lesson is lesson 13. We talk about being a role model for our children, and we want our children to be exemplary humans, but we're kind of like half-assed in life. They're going to do the exact same thing. Children want to excel to the level of their parents. That's why children who have parents who do great things end up doing great things, because their parents have modeled the same thing. The parents have modeled a particular character trait, and as a result, the child says, hey, I want to do that as well. I'm gonna keep reading on, man. This is page 84 of my Become a Better Father program. That link to the first module of my program is available in the description. Discipline is not about strictness. It's about structure, consistency, and integrity. We don't look at discipline as anything other than being told what to do or doing something you're told to do. Sometimes discipline is doing what you don't want to do. All the time, discipline is not saying what you want to say, right? Discipline looks like, getting up in the morning and, doing 20 push-ups every single morning. Okay, right? Every week or every month, I fast for about 10 to 12 days. Every single month for the last 5 years. I will do that every single month. And my son will always say, Dad, I don't know how you do it, man. Son, you can do this. Right? And so he'll see me, I'll go, 18, 19, sometimes 20 hours without any food. He'll go, ain't that hard? Yes, it's very hard. But then it prompts my son to go, I can do hard things too. And that's important, especially as a father. I want y'all to understand, man, that's very important for your child. When your child understands that they too can do hard things, because doing hard things makes you stronger long term, then they want to do hard things. They want to challenge themselves. They want to push themselves. A lot of times we want to keep our children safe from the world, and we want to tell them to sit down, shut up, and be quiet. When in reality, they need to be standing up, doing shit, and experiencing the world so they can learn what to do, what not to do. They can learn, again, consistency. They can learn structure. They learn what integrity is. And so, while discipline on its surface seems like something that's a punishment, discipline, when taught correctly, can be the foundation for creating a hugely successful child in your life. I'm going to read on. It is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when it's hard. I just said that. Doing the hard things. Even when it's hard, inconvenient, and uncomfortable. The more disciplined you are as a man, the stronger example you set for your children. Now, again, I'm not asking, nor would I ever ask you to be the perfect father. I don't need you to be the perfect father. Your children don't want you to be the perfect father, because that's something they can never achieve, right? Demanding perfection from a child when you yourself aren't working towards perfection is unfair. However, the reverse of that is also true. If you are somebody who exhibits discipline, structure, consistency, and integrity in what you do and in your character, when you demand that of your child, you can demand that of your child, and rightfully so, because it's not like I'm asking my child to do something I wouldn't do myself. Hey, son, we got to get up in the morning and work out. All right, I need you to come on with me now. And if I'm someone who models working out every single day in the morning, for 5-10 years, and I say, hey, son, every Friday we'll go work out, man, right? And come Thursday night, Friday morning, he's like, oh, I got to get up in the morning, because he knows dad is disciplined that way. I didn't have instill that in him. Now, let me say this. Instilling these traits into your children aren't easy. These traits are discipline by itself is extremely hard to instill in a child who wants to do random shit. They want to do all kinds of random things. It's when they're able to do that hard thing and then freedom with the random stuff. They go, man, this isn't so bad. It is hard. It is definitely hard. But it's okay. I can do hard things. Remember, I read that. I can do hard things. Getting through that, realizing you can do hard things, then prompts you to go, what else can I do? Right? One of the things I'm learning is with creating my program and writing several books is before it was always just a wish. Well, I really want to write a book and I really want to create a program and I want to build a course and X, Y, and Z and kind of putting it off. Then finally I said, you know what? I'm going to do this thing. And so my son one time asked me, I was in here writing and I was actually finishing my Become a Better Father program. I'm actually finishing the program. And my son said, Dad, he said, you're in front of your laptop 2, 3, 4 hours straight. Yeah. He said, aren't you tired? Yeah. But the beautiful thing about discipline now is discipline now creates structure, which creates a life of ease later. Like doing a hard thing right now makes later on so much simpler, man. I heard that one time. I must have been about 12 or 13 years old, and I was in school, and I heard when you do the hard things now, life is easy later on. And I heard that, I said, man, that's stupid. That don't make any sense. But it's true. If you're someone who wants to get to doing 1,000 push-ups, well, the start of that bad boy journey is doing 10 and mastering 10. Then doing 15 to 20, mastering that. The beginning is always going to be difficult, always. But the end of it is if I'm doing this for a year, 2 years straight, I'm knocking out 1,300 push-ups, and people are like, man, that's a lot of push-ups. What they're not realizing is the beginning part of the journey, the hard thing, doing the hard thing, and now says that later on, when I need to do harder things, it's easy. And it's not easy because it's easy. It's easy because I've built up the muscle of doing the hard things. I've built up the discipline and structure of doing the thing. Go to page 85. Same lesson, lesson 20. Give me a second. So the core teaching of this, there's 5 aspects to the core teaching. I'm going to hit number 1 because I don't have that much time left. So self-discipline is a father's personal code of honor. It shapes how he handles time, responsibility, his emotions, and challenges. Without it, chaos, inconsistency, and regret follows. We've seen the cases. Hey, man, we've seen the young man. Bro, little man, you got to chill out, man. If there's no structure, there's no discipline, if there is no consistency in a young man's life, he is going to fall victim to the whims of the world, and we're start trying to figure out why. Well, is there discipline in his life? Is there structure in his life? Is there someone who helps him to manage his emotions? And if there isn't, what's the result of that? What does that look like for a child who doesn't have structure, who doesn't have discipline, who doesn't have emotional intelligence and emotional control, right? Here's how discipline manifests in fatherhood. Discipline in daily habits. Children need routine, stability, and structure. Be the example. That's huge. Point 2 is stick to consistent wake-up times, exercise, reading, and learning. Now, if you're someone who doesn't really like to exercise, get up and meditate. Get up in the morning and meditate. So you don't want to exercise. Get up and stretch. I'm not asking you to lift 700 pounds. Get up and stretch in the morning, right? Loosen your body up. Wake yourself up. Move your body around, right? If you're someone who doesn't really like reading, right? Is there a way you can actually incorporate some form of writing, right? I think the last bit of information I read on reading is that most people read at or below a third or fourth grade level. Is reading something that's important? Absolutely. Is that something you should try to maybe hone in on? Of course it is. Again, it's the discipline in you that then transitions to a disciplined child, right? Number 2 is discipline in emotional control. A father who reacts emotionally instead of responding rationally teaches his children impulsiveness. Say that one more time. A father who reacts emotionally instead of responding rationally teaches his children impulsiveness. Man, son, you got to calm down. If you someone, the moment someone makes you angry, are you someone who can say, you know what? Let me pull myself away from this. Let me not get overly excited about whatever took place. If you're someone who doesn't have that ability, and then you wonder why your children act the way they act, again, children learn from what you do way more than what you say. Way more. They watching because a child learns life and everything related to it by what it sees and hears. When we allow our children to see us at our very best, speaking at our very best, delivering our very best, we produce better humans. Now, again, I'm not saying that you have to be a perfect father. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is, if your child sees you doing your best, I'm not saying perfect or perfection. I'm saying doing your best actively, consistently, doing your best. Trust me, that goes way further in life than trying to be the perfect father. It truly does. I gotta end this lesson here, man. So, again, if y'all want the first module of my program, I may quite possibly be the only coach on YouTube who gives away a portion of their program, right? You see a lot of these coaches and course creators, they offer their program, but you never know what you're going to get. I actually put this in the description. I'm going to put put my battle book journal in there in the description. That's also in there. My description box is a treasure trove of free information. Definitely get it. And I'm going to put a link to a couple other links in there for free stuff. Click down there and get your free module. And I think that's it, man. Like and subscribe, tribe. I'm out. Peace.